You are now listening to About That Business, hosted by Rom Wills. Rom Wills is an entrepreneur and personal coach who has helped people reach their fullest potential personally and professionally. Take it away, Rom.
Thank you, Marshall. It just takes one. I'm going to tell you what. And I started to get into this in my last video. If a little bit of that Romeo came in. Anyway, right, I got into this a little bit in my last video, but it just takes one customer. It takes one customer. Like, regardless of what type of business you building up, whether it's a service, whether you doing YouTubes, whether it's podcasting, whether you selling products, it takes one customer as a tipping point. You know, and I've told this story before, but this is something I have to emphasize because one of the things I always talk about is customer service. Like I talked about one time when I was doing a book signing, right? I was doing a book signing at this restaurant. Nobody bought the book. Few people looked at it. One woman bought the book. One woman, right? And some people would be sad, like, oh, you just had one. But see, that one woman went back. It turns out she sponsors seminars. So that book costs about $10 for, right? And some people say, oh, that's bad. But that woman there actually ended up making me several $1,000s. Let me say that again. She made me several $1,000s just from that one customer. You know? Or when my book, Nice Guys and Players, first came out. I remember when it got real big on the internet, right? Like people were buying it like crazy. It was like just one person saw it and bought it, right? And gave a review of it. The funny thing is, it wasn't even that great a review, right? You know, it wasn't even that great a review. But that shit was just the bomb, right? You know? That just because the person talked about it, so it was just one. Like, remember, whenever you're dealing with a customer, like customers, you got to think that customer is the right one. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Despite what I'm saying, I don't put up with any crap from anyone, not even a customer. But as long as they acting right, you treat them like an honored guest. You make them feel special. Cause you never know. You don't know who they talk to, whoever. Like, you could have somebody and, I mean, like I said, this is something I talked about a lot, but this is something I got to emphasize. You never know if that's the one who's going to put you over. So if you doing vending or you selling products or you doing a service, you never know. Like in my last one, I talked about a massage service, right? You never know. Like my friend, she never knows if she give a massage to the right person, where that person could take her. You know, that might be like a human resources director at some major corporation. They could say, hey, you know what? One of the things we do is bring in massage therapists for our customers. For our workers. Which some corporations will do. They'll do stuff like that just for their workers, just to keep them, like, relaxed. So you never know. You never know that one person. It's like you always want to be courteous. You want to give great customer service, not lousy service. Because I've seen sometimes people have just given, I'm going to tell you what. I was, the other day, I was in a restaurant, right? It was Dave & Buster's for my son's birthday, right? And I'm going to be honest. As crowded as they were, the customer service was so-so. The service was so, she was nice, but just the way they did things, I was just like, man. But see, they don't know who I was. Now, see, I'm that type, I'm online. I might say, oh, yeah, go visit this. Like, if I go in a restaurant or something, they don't know. They might just see some dude in some, like, a sweatshirt and some jeans, just sitting there, just chilling. They don't know. I might be the one to say, hey, you know what? Y'all go and eat at this place. And all of a sudden, other people will go. Now, with the number of people who follow me on my different social media, that could make or break a place. Maybe some place like in Baltimore. Like there's some places I could go, a small place, and there's a lot of people living in Baltimore or something. or, and that's any place. You don't know that one person, right? And you always gotta think about that in business, right? You always gotta think, you wanna treat that one person as an honored guest or honored customer. Because trust me, it makes so much, man. Like I talked about in the last podcast, you never know when that person is going to talk to somebody else, or you don't know. Like I know, you might be dealing with some woman, like you in a retail store, right? You work a retail clerk, and you get a little commission. Okay, like say shoes. I think that's one of the few things that still has commission, right? And you help out a woman, you're nice and patient with her and everything. You don't know anything about her, right? Now she go back, you find she like the first lady of a church, like a big mega church, got like 30,000 members or something, and she knows everybody, and she say, "Oh yeah, go to this person, go to this person." Boom. I've actually done sales that way. Yeah, I got friendly with one person, and they brought their whole office back. It just takes one. It just takes one. People got to remember that. And even if you have a business and say you have a business, right? You building it slowly, like Rom says, but it's trudging along. You don't seem like you're getting that much traction. Some people might get an attitude to get ready to leave, but you always got to think that next one, that next one, that next one. And you might be saying that next one for a year, couple years. But then after 2 years, you get that one person come in, you say something, all of a sudden they like, "Oh, yeah, well, you know what? I own this thing right here." Or, "Can you deliver food to this thing?" Right? Can you cater this event? It's like, and I've known some people who've done that, because ultimately businesses are about relationships. When you interact, every time you interact with a customer longer than beyond the word hi, that's a relationship. It's temporary, but it's still a relationship. That's what builds a business, the relationships that you have with your customers. Those are people who are going to support you. Even now, like with my private sites and stuff, I got people who just come in, they just say, "You know what, Ron? Some of the stuff you saying, I don't really need to hear, because not in the sense of it's not good information, but I get a lot of dudes. Who just support me. I'm just giving them a shout out. They just support me because I say it, because I put it out. And these dudes, they really shoot. They on some other level as far as getting women, or you got some business people among them who probably making way more money than I am. They could be doing these videos, but they say, "No, I'm just gonna support you." That's what it's about. And see, them supporting, then they'll tell somebody else. Boom. I say, let some other people know about me. So, yeah, just always remember that it takes that one person. That, you in a business, say you providing a service, or you in a store, you got a little store or something, you just like, you tired, this is the last customer of the night, they coming in 5 minutes before you trying to close. But if you treat that person still like, "You know what, this person came in at 9 a.m. and I'm full of energy," and you just have fun. In fact, you got to close the store down, let them shop a little bit. That could be the first lady of the store. I actually had that happen one time. I used to work in this little store, right? Had this woman come in very late. I'm trying to close up. She came in very late, but I was still cool with her and everything, right? And she actually had a women's group that she was with. And all of them came back and said, "Yeah, so as I'm saying, you gave great service." So you gotta look. It just takes one. Always remember that, okay? So, and yeah, let me get back into that just a few seconds, just to reiterate. It's always about relationships. It's good relationships, because I talk about relationships on my main channel, and it's the main thing is male female romantic type of relationships, and sexual relationships. But it's a relationship when you go into a retail store and you talk to a clerk. It's a relationship if you at a bus stop or something, you strike up a conversation with a person. You don't know what they got. You never know. That could be the person that says, "Oh yeah, let me take your card." You just never know. So anyway, right, that's it for today. Let's go make that money.
Bye.